Hi and welcome to this episode of Metal Tech Alley. I'm Rebecca Richards. On this episode, we will get a tour of a new boutique hotel in Roslyn, BC, learn about how an engineering firm is using technology to improve safety, and see how one sawmill in the Kootenays is making the most of our resources. When we think of modern technology, gold panning is not the first thing that comes to mind. But sometimes the time-honored traditions are still the best way to extract metals. We'll learn about this up next.
BC Chamber of Mines is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to providing a research facility and a mineral museum to would-be prospectors and individuals in the mining industry. And we're there all the time to assist people with their either prospecting or research needs. It is absolutely going strong today and will be into the future more so because of our demands for alternative energies, solar panels, wind turbines, and especially the electric vehicles, which take approximately 10 times the amount of mining to make an electric vehicle. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So we're going to see a lot more mining in the future. Like global demand, not just local, but the entire world is going forward into this new era of energy production, and the amount of minerals and metals that are required are astounding, actually. Yeah. It's not just the actual physical mining in British Columbia, it's the exploration side of it as well, which sees like millions of dollars coming through all of our regional areas, helping out with the local economies. Yeah. The reason you're seeing mining thriving today is because of the necessity, right? The necessity to provide all of the products and services and everything that we all rely on. And the population is just getting bigger. So as the population increases, the demand for these minerals also increase because every single person wants a cell phone and a car and a TV, and every time you have an increase in the population, mining is going to increase as well. Yeah.
What we're trying to do is get the gold into the bottom of this wedge right here.
So the number one reason you're seeing these technologies change is first and foremost the environment, the protection of the environment. So we're trying to be as least invasive as possible on our resources, and so the technology is increasing to make it more efficient to do this mining, right? So we're trying to get away from big, huge, giant open pit mines and stuff like that. Sometimes it's unavoidable because that is where the resource is, so you have to do it. But in that action, there's so many new technologies that make the sorting of the ore a lot more efficient, yeah, and you get more out of the ore than you did in the old days, right? That's why you have all these tailing piles everywhere, and a lot of companies now are, since our technology has risen so high, these companies are going back after the tailings of all the ore that's been left over, for one, to make an economic benefit out of it and extract those metals, but also to clean. Such a huge range of, or diverse, actually, people that like minerals, right? Some people just like shiny rocks, some people are gold fever, some people, right? So it's, that's the part of my job that I like the most, is that nobody that comes into the chamber doesn't like minerals, right? So I get to deal with people every single day that share my passion for the actual minerals themselves, and like for myself, it's all about the hunt. This is a new form of hunting, and it gets me really excited when I find a new find that nobody's ever seen before. Yeah.
It looks like any of the sawmills located throughout BC, but one small mill in Fruitvale is making a name for itself worldwide.
We're a 60-year-old family business. We were started by a Swedish immigrant who came to Canada in the 1920s, and through subsequent generations built and established a wood products business. Our current owner is my wife, Rebecca Weatherford, who's the founder's granddaughter. Our business is focused in wood products, as our name would suggest. We do a lot of work in the forest around the West Kootenays, the trail, Montreal, Castlegar, Nelson areas. We do forest management, so all aspects of forestry, from forest planning to harvesting operations to replanting and silviculture, and looking at all the values of the forest, environmental values, the conservation values, the economic values, and making sure we're managing the forest to benefit the forest and our communities with all those values. From a wood products background, technology is very key to the wood products industry, and I guess with all industries, but in particular, wood products has been part of our region's, economic history, from the inception back in the 1800s, and has evolved as technology's evolved and allowed the companies and the mills and the operations in this area to stay current, to stay efficient, to maintain safe operations, to maintain the quality of products that are demanded by wood markets around the world. So technology has been a very key piece of not just ATCO's success, but the success of the industry over the last 100 years. We've looked at adoption of technology throughout our whole organization, from the woodland side and how we can harvest trees safer, more efficient, more environmentally friendly. So that's using different harvesting equipment and different harvesting techniques. It's using mapping and GIS technology, so we can better understand the terrain, the topography, the land. So things like LiDAR and satellite imagery and mapping, like I said. In the mill side, it's using electronics and lasers and computers to really make our systems as efficient and safe and as possible, and to take the quality level to where it needs to be. Many people drive by our mill, as you commented, and don't really understand or know what's going on, and everybody who does comes inside our mill and is amazed at the level of technology that goes on here. We've never had a sign in front of our mill here, and it's something we've talked about, but we finally gotten to the point where we feel that we really want to have a physical presence, have our name physically out front of us. So we'll be putting up a sign, and there's a scale model of it here. But we looked at wanting to use technology and employ technology. So there's kind of two key areas that we're doing that. One locally is Midas. So the letters you can see we're having cut at Midas. And what we wanted to do was have our sign out of wood, but more specifically out of the type of wood that we use and support. So the whole sign is going to be made out of plywood, and the letters and figures and stuff will be cut at the Midas lab. Actually, they're being cut, I think, this week, and will be mounted to the sign. The other technology is actually the large pieces at the back are a new type of plywood product, new type of panel product that's being developed by one of our customers called a mass plywood panel, and it's basically a piece of plywood on steroids. So our back piece is a piece of plywood that's 10 feet tall, 24 feet long, and 4 inches thick. So it's a giant piece, one piece of plywood that will form the back of our new sign. So we're quite excited to be able to utilize technologies, like I said, both with the capabilities of Midas here and then capabilities of our customers to bring those together and reflect in our sign what ATCO's about, which is wood and the adoption of technology. No, it's something I've heard about, and certainly in the industry we've heard often that forestry is a sunset industry and it's dying, and we need to get on to new technology and bring high tech, and I would make the argument, and our company be the proof that we are the adoption of the latest and greatest technology in a very historic industry that's been the backbone of our region and our province for a long time. Forestry is not a dying industry. We have very healthy, well-managed, sustainable forest in our region. We're lucky we've got some great forestry operators in the West Kootenays who've been here for decades, if not centuries in many cases. We're living and working here, so the care of the forest is top of everybody's mind and whatnot. We're harvesting trees that are previous generations were replanting. So it's a very sustainable industry, and especially in this region, we have such a great forest and diverse forest. So we have plenty of healthy forests to sustain our business going forward. What I see in the future, though, is continuing to adopt and utilize new technologies to make better use of our forest resource. Forest utilization is something that's near and dear to our hearts, and we look at ourselves as stewards of the forest. So we're privileged enough to be looking after the region's forest. So we want to do the best job we can, and for us that means not just doing the right things on the ground in the forest, but also putting every piece of the tree that we harvest to its highest and best use.
If you've been up to Red Mountain recently, you may have noticed some changes at the base of the hill. The Josie Hotel opened for business last year, and they've been making a name for themselves for more than just their great location.
Yeah, the Josie and Noble House Hotel is here at Red Mountain Resort, in I think one of the most spectacular spots in the world. It's amazing here, 4-season destination between the amazing skiing we obviously have here in the winter, but also we get forgot about in the summer sometimes. We have amazing biking, hiking, just the wildlife viewing, the fishing just down in trail. There's just so much to do in this area that we're pretty excited to have this hotel here. In the winter we do our ski valet, and for me, someone with 4 kids, my first time I arrived here, I came up with 6 sets of skis in our family, and next thing you know, the valet and guest services team approaches and grabs everything, brings it up, takes care of all those type of needs, and then each day you come down, your skis are put out in the snow, you're 30 feet from the lift. It's a pretty neat experience to be able to have that and take care of that whole family need as well. From the back house to the front of house, spent a lot in the kitchen areas, and that's really utilizing a state-of-art kitchen so we could produce the best culinary experience, and that's amazing. But it goes farther into that. It goes into the back, into our laundry room, keeping an eye on all our laundry, our chemicals. We're a Green Key property, being environmentally friendly and using technology there, coming to the point of having laundry suppliers in this area, but also being able to have people log in remotely to take care of our laundry system, our lighting system, our power needs. All those kind of areas are all, with tech requirements, which allow us to manage our business to the highest level, even though we're not in a major corporate center. And I think that's been a key part of this hotel. And managing this luxury experience that we're doing in a different, a different non-city center. We source local food, however, obviously our halibut isn't fresh. Yeah. Our halibut, we get the same halibut as the restaurant in Vancouver. So you're not tied to geographic area anymore. We get the same fish that a city restaurant gets, and we get it in the same amount of time. So we can get a fish that's caught 2 days ago and is on the table today. And we're not tied to those the old transportation needs of yesterday. In areas, even in remote areas, we have that opportunity to provide the freshest product from all over. And that allows our culinary team to really flourish, for sure. Our executive chef, Marc-Andre, he works with local providers and tries to find different things, whether it's meat or vegetables, and have that opportunity to really highlight what the region has to offer. And that's a huge part of, I know, Chef Marc-Andre's passion, as well as the boutique style of this restaurant and the hotel, is to allow for that unique experience that showcases the area as much as anything. I mean, we have everything here that you would need in any property, in any hotel, and that's one that we continually look at and go, how do we get a different group of people here, especially now when we're coming into the summer season. The corporate meeting offerings we have a beautiful corporate space, a meeting space for up to 286 people, standing reception, but it comes into having the high-speed internet, the ability to transform a room with lighting and sound, just to provide a unique corporate experience is just as important as our transient and leisure style guests. It was a big decision. Family of 6 with 4 kids, and moving a whole family away from where you are. But it was an outdoor family, and we ski and we bike, and I mean the Kootenays, in particular this area, is just so known for amazing skiing, amazing biking, all those areas. And I'd never been here before until I looked at the job this winter. I came out once, and as much as I heard, fell in love with everything that it has to offer. And it just keeps surprising me every day. I go for a bike ride and I hear about how good the trails are and I go, oh, they can't be, that good. Then you get on it and you're going, no, this is pretty amazing. You go for a ski and you see that terrain, and there's just so much to do here. It's so much this area offers. And that's that part that's exciting for me, is having the ability that I get to experience this, but also the fact that I have 4 kids that get to grow up in this community, experience something that I'm so passionate about in the outdoors, and these activities is pretty amazing to me. So.
Austin Engineering has been making a name for themselves through the innovative way they integrate 3D printing into their design.
Started Austin Engineering just over 4 years ago. And we did it at a bit of an opportune time. Like, I've always been involved in dams, and I actually, right out of school, put the anchors into 7 Mile Dam right here in Trail. And I've been lucky enough to spend most of my career working in dams. And at the time, just before starting Austin Engineering, I was working for Fortis as their manager of Generation Engineering. They were looking to sell off Fortis Generation East and Fortis Ontario and kind of downsize the number of assets they had. And I was thinking, I've got a great skill set and a great team, and we might get a little bit bored, so we decided to venture out on our own and start our own company.
So our specialty is civil, structural, geotechnical engineering, and our highest and best use of this combination of skills is dam safety and hydropower engineering. For dam safety, we work with municipalities throughout the province, both on new builds and on retrofit and upgrades. And we also are very fortunate to work with the 2 large power generators in our province and work on, we're very fortunate to have Fortis Electric as one of our key corporate partners. And on the phase 1, we did phase 1 and phase 2. On phase 1, we partnered with both Fortis BC and the Digital Fabrication Program and Jason Taylor's program out at Selkirk. And what we were able to achieve was to create a hydraulic model using a co-op student from Jason's program at Selkirk for use in many things. So a hydraulic model can show the best material for retrofitting the dam. It can show the best material for increasing the power generation of the dam. But this particular model, the plant manager and the Fortis managerial team wanted to have a model they could bring out into the community, 1, to show what power generation is, and 2, to develop safe work plans. So in this case, they were retrofitting the gates. And he's going to have divers in the water in front of these gates. So in order to develop a safe work plan for these divers who are going to be operating in and around an extreme consequence dam, it's much easier for them to sit around in a nice warm office and be able to come up with an excellent work plan. It's more easy than being out in the field and developing that same work plan. So this was phase 2 of a very similar project. We kept the team together with Austin Engineering, Fortis Electric, and Selkirk. And we contacted a very good friend of ours, Dr. Sharia Lam, who is a well-respected structural engineering instructor and professor at UBC Okanagan. And we said, what if we took one of these hydraulic models and put it on a shake table? So for seismic analysis, static structures, so for example, a bridge or a building, a road, it's very well understood how they will react in an earthquake situation. But the really interesting thing about these dams is they have a constantly moving body of water behind them.
The tough part is matching the natural frequency of the dam, right? So now we can print a dam in any shape, create a mold of it, and then cast a number of different materials until we match that seismic frequency. So it gives us the ability to do some testing that hasn't really been done before in terms of matching shape and style of a dam. And what we've just completed with UBC is a study on the interaction between the water on the upstream face and the actual dam. So we printed a dam, we put a bunch of seismic testing gear on top of the dam and got the natural frequency. We then put the dam in a tank on the table so we could test it both without and with water, and compared the without and the with.
You can spend 6 months and $500,000 using the traditional methods, or we can rapidly prototype multiple models so they can learn more about every aspect of their dams that before it was simply cost prohibitive to work towards. So the feedback so far has been really positive. Well, we're very fortunate at Austin Engineering to have a relatively small company, so we can be very quick and nimble and not only absorb new technology quickly, but also be able to innovate. We don't have layers of bureaucracy. If we want to do it, we just do it. And we've got an incredible team that brings all their highest and best ideas to the table. We've got an incredible network, so we know who to call. We live in a community where everyone's so connected. We are seeing this impact of where we can go with this seismic analysis of extreme consequence dams through the use of shake tables, through the use of hydraulic modeling. We already have our partners lined up for phase 3, and we'll be presenting at the International Conference on Large Dams in Ottawa in the spring. So it's definitely instilled confidence, having this incredible network of people, having this incredible set of tools that we're able to not only use but be trained on to such a high level. It's tremendous.
If you would like more information on Metal Tech Alley, or if you'd like to be on the show, go to our website, metaltechalley.com.